Welcome to the After Chat. I'm Michael.
I'm Madison.
And today we are talking about how to respond to injustice. You ready?
I am.
Let's do it.
Welcome to the After Chat. Real questions. Real talk. Real life.
What song takes you back to high school?
Okay. Can I have like a top 3 artist and then a song? Because I like this question.
Absolutely.
So top 3, the 1975, that band brings me back to high school.
Okay.
Same with Paramore, and then obviously One Direction. I had a huge One Direction phase.
Yeah.
In like early to late high school. Big One Direction person. But like a specific song, I'm going to go with Decode by Paramore.
Okay.
It was like the song that was on like the Twilight soundtrack, which I wasn't allowed to watch Twilight.
But you
when
could
it
listen
came
to the
out.
music.
But I was a big Paramore. I still am a big Paramore stan. I love Hayley Williams. So Decode is a bop. I legitimately listen to it all the time. Like even though it's an older song, I love it. And I love Twilight. I do. I unironically love Twilight. I circled back to it as an adult and I love it. And for my bachelorette party, before I got married, we had a sleepover at my friend's house and we watched Twilight and we sang karaoke and we for sure sang Decode.
Love that.
Yeah, it's a good time.
It unironically love it.
Yes.
Okay.
It's cheesy.
Yes.
So maybe there is a little bit of ironic love in there.
I mean, it's okay to like cheesy things. There's nothing wrong with that.
I love it for what it did for the emo goth girlies in my in my younger years. It gave us a leg to stand on.
Something
this
to rally
is cool
behind.
to be.
Yes.
Yeah. What about you?
I've got a wide range of music. So, whenever I think back to high school, I think of like there was a real like rise of like 90s hip hop that was really cool. Like Bone Thugs and Harmony was really doing their thing during that time.
When were you in high school? I can't do the math mentally.
94 to 98.
Okay. That makes sense.
Then I
could have done that math and I just didn't.
Yeah.
And good era.
It was a good era for music. Tool was really big then, which
Ooh.
is a metal band.
Mm-hmm.
Pantera was really cool. But also then you had like Blink 182 coming out and doing their thing. Sugar Ray was out there. Lenny Kravitz was out there. Like
nice.
TRL was really awesome back then. Also NSYNC was doing their thing.
Yeah.
Baby Bye Bye Bye.
True.
All of that. So
Classics.
like 94 to 98 was like an awesome year for just music in general. And I kind of hopped between all of those.
Yeah.
But one song that came out, I think it was my freshman year in high school, and which people, looking back, they ironically slow danced to it, was End of the Road by Boys to Men, because it is a breakup song that played at every school dance. And everybody slow danced to it.
That's awful.
But the lyrics are kind of something. So just read those, and because we read a little bit of it.
We
before.
did, and it's for sure a breakup song.
It's for sure a breakup song.
It's also kind of creepy.
I mean, he doesn't want to accept it, but it's over.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like this girl was a good fit for him.
It sounds a little bit like a stalker anthem, sort of.
I don't go that
very
far,
intense.
but he's really not wanting to accept it, and I think he's trying to reason his way back into the relationship with her, but she's not having it. But so no, all of those, but that song specifically.
Have you seen the "It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia" episode where they're singing "Boys to Men" together?
Oh no,
I think it's like they get quarantined in the bar
gang
because
gets quarantined.
there's like terrible flu going around, and Danny DeVito shaves his head and wants to be pure, so he coats himself in hand sanitizer.
No, at the end when they come out of the bat, have I seen It's Always Sunny?
Oh, yeah, I mean,
so he's lying there in the floor just in a puddle of it, like in his underpants.
Honestly, that's probably one of my top episodes. It's so good.
No, that one is whenever Dennis says, "If I was sick, could I do this?" And then he holds that note, and then it's like, yeah,
none of them are sick. I think they're just like
they're suffering from alcohol withdrawal, but.
Oh gosh.
But no, I love that episode because
Uh,
like especially the cover for that one. They're all in red, and so like I'm a huge St. Louis Cardinals fan. So on the Boys to Men thing, one of them's wearing a red STL hat,
nice.
and so yeah, it's like hip hop but casual, but also business smart. Like their particular style.
Okay.
So no,
All right.
I have that.
Nice.
I have that.
Nice.
So I'm kind of curious whatever everybody else's like song that takes them back to high school. I'm going to make that a post in the
Oh
in the
yeah,
Facebook group
that'll
this
be
week.
fun. Yeah.
What fictional character do you relate to most, and why?
So right now, I've been on a little bit of a kick with this one particular movie that's come out on Netflix recently. I think I've already mentioned it to you, but it's called K-pop Demon Hunters.
Yes.
It is genuinely like a pretty good. It's definitely a kids movie, but it's a pretty good kids movie. And there's a character in it called Zoe. She's like one of the three main girls in this K-pop like girl trio group. And her name is Zoe. There's one part of the movie where like the bad guys are starting to win, and so they're like pulling everyone their way, and like a huge part of the plot of this movie is that like your internal negative thoughts about you pull you away from being yourself, and like basically I don't want to spoil it for anybody because it is genuinely really good. But like they're starting to recite these bad things to themselves on a loop, and they're getting pulled apart from each other because of this. They're fighting and they feel bad about themselves. And her internal monologue is in like this scene where she's, falling apart is "You're too much and not enough." And I was like, oh gosh, it's so intense. But like, I definitely cried. It all, I don't want to give it away, but like that one part in particular, I was like, I can relate to that being your internal monologue there, holding you back from doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yes.
Yeah, it got me good.
I bet. No, I bet that was relatable.
Yeah.
You're too much, but also not enough.
Yeah. What about you? What's a character you relate to?
Hank Hill all day.
Oh yeah.
Like he's constantly busy.
Matter of fact.
Doesn't you know exactly where you stand with him at any given moment.
Very true.
Tries to say difficult things with with grace and aplomb, but without mincing words. So I've always related to him, and I'm really looking forward to checking out they revived it on Hulu. I think.
Didn't even know that was. I saw something pop up on like a preview or something the other day. I had no idea that was coming. But I'm pretty
think
excited.
Bobby's a hibachi chef or something like that. Which
I love that.
I think so. I don't know for sure, but like from the one preview that I saw, it looked like he's working in some sort of restaurant like
Interesting.
that. And so
I'm excited to see
I'm looking forward to checking that out.
Nice.
So Hank Hill all the way.
Very cool.
What's one unique thing about your hometown that shaped the way that you grew up?
So I'm not quite sure about hometown, but like the actual location of where I grew up was on this huge giant. It used to be a farm, so it was like 80-acre property that was turned into a church at one point. It still is a church. At one point, it was a farm, and then it became a church and was passed down to the pastor who got it from his dad, who was, I believe, a cattle farmer, but I could be wrong. Anyways, huge property, and I had just like full exploration of it constantly. So I like in the woods, in the creeks, in the old pole barns, like everywhere. I just was outside tearing it up. There was a pond. Like one time I was wearing those like style Birkenstocks that are like the clogs where they slip on, but there's nothing like keeping them onto your ankle, and I like kicked something into the pond and my Birkenstock went flying off into the water, and I was like, I'm gonna get in trouble because these are expensive.
They are expensive.
So I spent like the rest of the afternoon throwing things into the pond just past the Birkenstock so that the water ripples would bring it closer and closer to the shore, because they're like, the soles are made with like cork, so it floated really well. I did get it back.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so it just, I don't know, it shaped me to be someone who appreciated some good time by myself, thinking big life thoughts in nature.
Love that.
Yeah. Very
That's
peaceful.
Cool. Yes.
What about you?
Out at so when we lived before we moved to Missouri, we lived in a little village in Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
And my Grammy lived in a little even smaller village outside of the village
Oh,
that we
wow.
grew up in. So my village it's still called Mount Auburn. And Grammys, it has like 400 people in it or something like that. And then Grammys is called Osborneville, and there's like 25 people there.
Mm.
So she was the town elections official. Like she had like 6 different titles. But anyway, so it's just out in Illinois. Everything is broken up into kind of square grids you could see for miles and miles and
Oh, yeah.
miles. And we would, my cousins and I and my friends and I, we would either ride our bikes all over the place out in the middle of nowhere and run through the cornfields, or my grandpa had some 3-wheelers and we would go out on those.
Nice.
And that was a ton of fun.
I bet.
And even if we were, all my friends stayed in Mount Auburn, we would ride bikes all over the place. Everybody knew everybody because it's such a small little community.
Nice.
I loved that. It was very much Stranger Things kind of vibe. Like
That's
without
awesome.
the upside down and all of that.
Oh, yeah.
But just the way
That's good.
everybody grew up riding bikes, going to everybody's houses, playing video games.
Nice.
Everybody out until dinner time. It was such a cool upbringing.
Yeah. That was one of my favorite parts about growing up where I grew up. Was not only was it such a big property, but there was quite a lot of the property that was paved for people to park and drive to the office, the church office, to the actual church building. So and it was hilly. It was paved but hilly. So there were a lot of really good spots to pick up some speed on my bike and then coast downhill. I had like a little moment with some rollerblades there for a second, and I tore my knees up, but I had a good time. Yeah, I had a good biking childhood as well.
No, you always knew where everybody was because there was a pile of bikes out in somebody's front yard.
Nice.
And that was a good time.
I love that. That's awesome.
So we're going to be talking about injustice and people that make mistakes and mess up. So how do you try to show grace to others when they do make mistakes or mess up?
I usually try. Hopefully, I'm good at this. I feel like this is something that I make an effort to do, but sort of just encourage them by putting whatever happened into the context of. I understand why. Like it makes sense why that might have happened, I guess. Just allowing for the context of, I don't know, if you think about like somebody double booked themselves and had to cancel on me last minute, putting it into the context of, I understand you've had a really busy week and there's a lot of priorities flying around and I get it. So like, I think I'm pretty good at that. Hopefully I just allow people to feel relieved of my frustration by telling them how I understand how it might have happened.
Yeah. No, one of the things, and I think I heard this kind of implicit in what you were saying, was one of the things I try to do is put myself in their shoes and see how they got from A to B.
Yeah. Yes. You have to do that first before you can share it with them.
Because if not, then I just I could take things personally. And so
me too.
And so if I'm able, and even if it's something I'm not real, involved in, being able to do that and put yourself in someone else's shoes and see how they did whatever it was, or how their thinking got to be what it was, like is usually helpful in extending grace to others.
Yeah,
that's true. It's not like absolving them of it, but it's like saying, okay, just letting it go.
Yeah.
Is helpful. So we're going to be looking at Micah today, who had a lot to say about injustice and people being taken advantage of. Mm-hmm. And then he also has a prescription on how to rectify those types of things. So kick us off and tell us a little bit about who Micah was.
Yeah. So Micah was from Moresheth, which is a rural town in Judah. Rural always messes me up.
Rural.
rural. Anyways,
Rule.
it always, literally, I can never say it.
Rule.
A small town in Judah near Gath. So this area was part of the Shephelah, which is the lowlands between Judah and Philistia. So
Look at
in
you
this,
go. Like you
thank
put that
you.
on there phonetically.
I did, because it helps me actually say
Well
things
done.
properly. So Micah prophesied during the reigns of Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, which were kings of Judah, which was roughly around 740 to 700 BC. And that actually, this is something that I don't think that I knew until we started digging into Micah, was that this was around the same time as Isaiah and Hosea, which I did not realize that there was this much overlap there.
So I think that was whenever I first started getting into the prophets and like when they did their things.
Yeah.
Because it's presented as, okay, Isaiah's doing his
Yes.
thing, then boom, Isaiah's gone. Then the
Yes.
next guy comes in.
Yeah.
But there was a whole lot of overlap. Like a lot of these folks were contemporaries of one another, which I think goes often unnoticed.
Pretty cool. Definitely not something that I would have probably paid attention to the details of, just because there aren't, we're not rocking with that many dates in the Bible. It just is laid out. So it was interesting for me to learn that. So he was a prophet. Micah was a prophet sent by God to call out injustice, especially among the leaders of Judah and Israel. And he was also, his purpose was to remind the people of God's coming judgment and restoration. So pretty much a lot of the similar conversations that you would hear from other prophets of just like, hey, watch out. Really, that was mostly a lot of what they had to say was, watch yourself. So he was from the southern kingdom, which is Judah, but he spoke to both Judah and Israel in his prophecies. And his background was unlike prophets who came from the priestly or royal classes. Micah appears to us to be a commoner, likely familiar with the suffering of the poor and the rural people. His message strongly defends them, which I think is very interesting.
And he's speaking at, whenever you read it, he's speaking as someone who like this happened to. We don't know that, but just
it sounds like it.
But the way that he's writing, so
he's definitely very passionate.
Yes. So it seems like there's a personal stake, either him or someone that he knows. I mean, whenever you kick off Micah 2, verses 1 and 2, woe to those who plan iniquity, to those who plot evil on their beds.
True.
Yes. Woe
to those.
Woe to those. We're going to start peppering that in.
That's a good phrase.
I love it. Woe to those.
It is good, yeah.
Yeah. So, woe to those who plan iniquity, to those who plot on their beds. At morning's light, they carry it out because it is in their power to do it. They covet fields and seize them, and houses and take them. They defraud people of their homes. They rob them of their inheritance. So he's coming right out of the booth with condemning landowners who are abusing their authority to steal land and homes from those that are more vulnerable. And most of the wealth then, as now, was generational wealth through property and homes. And these are folks that are stealing it.
Yeah.
And so he comes right out with that.
Man.
Another one, this is in chapters 3, verses 9 through 11. Hear this, you leaders of Jacob who build Zion with bloodshed and Jerusalem with wickedness. Her leaders judge for a bribe.
Ooh.
Her priests teach for a price. Ugh. And her prophets tell fortunes for money.
Yikes.
This is a full blast of the entire leadership system in Judah and Israel. Judges, priests, prophets, all exploiting their roles for personal gain while pretending God is still with them.
Man.
I mean, this, you could say the same today.
Oh, yeah.
Like people do.
That's very true.
He's saying everybody's sold out, everybody's on the take.
Yep.
Priests are teaching for a price, and prophets are telling fortunes for money. And we're going to get a little bit to the selective teaching here in a little bit.
Yeah.
And then just another thing that he's calling out about just corruption and injustice is in chapter 6, 10 through 12. Am I still to forget your ill-gotten treasures, you wicked house, and the short ephah, which is accursed? Shall I acquit someone with dishonest scales? Your rich people are violent. Your inhabitants are liars.
Wow.
Here,
Embarrassing.
yes, here he's really calling out, like people being taken advantage of economically again,
Yeah.
corrupt business practices, dishonest measurements. And God hits that all over the place, like
Yep.
dishonest scales and measurements. He definitely does not like those, and violence used to exploit others for wealth, like just people being taken advantage of at every single layer of society is what he's really calling out here.
Man, it's intense. Another theme that he hangs out on pretty frequently as he's talking is the idea of these leaders only sharing selective truth. So picking and choosing what they're actually
Yes.
going to treat as valid to pay attention to. So we can read it in Micah chapter 2, verses 6 through 7. Do not prophesy, their prophets say. Do not prophesy about these things. Disgrace will not overtake us. You descendants of Jacob, should it be said, does the Lord become impatient? Does he do such things? So we can see here false prophets reject these hard truths, insisting only on positive messages. I wonder why, because they're probably a little bit embarrassed by what he's saying to them and what he's calling out. So they claim that God wouldn't bring judgment, ignoring the people's sin and reinforcing spiritual denial and self-deception. So they are just digging the hole even deeper as they go.
Nothing you do is wrong. Everything is right. You just keep doing you.
Yay.
Done.
Awesome. That doesn't help anybody. We can also read in Micah 3, verse 5, as for the prophets who lead my people astray, they proclaim peace if they have something to eat, but prepare to wage war against anyone who refuses to feed them. So these prophets, they were adjusting their messages based on personal gain. So truth becomes something that's transactional. They declare peace when bribed, but they turn hostile when they are not rewarded, which is just, to me, a very strong sign of some very selfish leadership.
Yeah, I mean, I'll hit you with a blessing, but it's going to cost you X, Y, and Z.
Wild.
Yes.
Crazy behavior.
Yeah. And so, those are he was just looking around. He was seeing all this injustice, people being taken advantage of, people being exploited for personal gain. The religious class was taking advantage of people. The leadership had been taking advantage of people. And he's just listing all of the ways that this is happening and just holding up a mirror to Judah and Israel and saying, this is what you're doing. It is wrong, wrong, wrong.
I'm kind of curious. I wonder if part of this process for him was something that he had to really dig deep and be very brave to do, or if he was just so fired up that it just came out of him and he was just very emboldened, passionately emboldened. Sometimes I get curious about what it was like to be in the shoes of the person at the time.
Yes.
We can really only read about leadership hesitation in a handful of people. Like Moses was nervous, he was anxious. Joshua seemed to be a little anxious and nervous at first, but something like this, we just hear him pop off. We don't necessarily get to hear the context of maybe how much he had to worry or think about it.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get an inner monologue.
Yeah, but
and then Micah sat down and boy, he was a little shook, but he wrote down his things and went and stamped it to the temple wall and said, get it.
However it happened, he said what needed to be said.
Yes. And so we're going to pick up the back half of this right after this message from Angie Frame.
Yes.
All right, from Pastor Angie.
God, break my heart for what breaks yours. We always want to be becoming more and more like God, knowing we're never going to fully attain that goal. That means we want to love like God loves, and reversely, we want our hearts to break for what breaks God's heart. Now, this requires prayer because, as humans, we naturally see the world from our perspective. Things break our hearts that matter to us. So with this prayer, we're asking God to let us see things from his perspective. This is a prayer of increased awareness of what matters to God. And it's dangerous to pray this prayer and to pursue that perspective because it can be so painful. When we become aware of what people suffer and endure and how it breaks God's heart, it will break ours and it will hurt. When we become aware of how God feels when people unnecessarily live lives apart from him and his love and his goodness and his grace, it will break our hearts. And when we feel that kind of pain, we are compelled to act, and that's dangerous because it just might change our lives. Now, next week, we're going to talk about how to pray to God and hear his direction for our lives. And sometimes that is a prayer that we need to pray because we don't know what to do. Other times, we don't have to pray that prayer because we do know in our gut, because we feel the pain in our gut. Sometimes we kind of overcomplicate the whole idea of what does God want me to do? If you pray, God, break my heart for what breaks yours, and he breaks your heart for sheep without a shepherd, let that pain propel you to act. Identify just one person that you can invest in a relationship with, invite to church, and introduce to Jesus. Get involved on our dream team here, where we are going beyond our limits to reach people who don't go to church and to help them know God and live the lives he wants for them. If you pray, God, break my heart for what breaks yours, and he breaks your heart for people who are harassed and helpless, then let that pain propel you to act. Take your faith beyond Sunday and build connections and community with people who are alone and isolated. Invite them to hang out, to come to an event, to check out your small group. Help them connect with other people who will not harass them and who will help them. If you pray, God, break my heart for what breaks yours, and he breaks your heart for those without food, let that pain propel you to act. Go beyond yourself and participate in our food drive that's happening right now. Go on a mission trip. Find a community organization where you can volunteer and do good. And hey, those are just 3 options. The options really are endless, but it all starts with just one prayer.
That was a throwback
Yeah.
right there.
I love that series. That whole series was great.
That was a very good series. I think that was a church-wide study that we were doing
There
during
is
that
a
time.
book. I know there's a book called
Yes.
Dangerous Prayers. Yeah.
And that one, I remember my small group very much liked that entire series.
Yeah.
And one of the things that frame said there, if you pray that prayer and he breaks your heart for the harassed and helpless people, then let that pain propel you to action.
Yep.
And that's one of the things that Micah was pointing out. Like these things, this breaks God's heart for those people.
Yeah.
Like he sees his people being abused and taken advantage of. And he sees that for anybody that's on the receiving end of being treated poorly by society at whole. And so one of the prescriptions that Micah has here, you can read about it. You can read it in chapter 6, verses 6 through 8. So with what shall I come before the Lord? Will the Lord be pleased with thousands of rams and 10,000 rivers of olive oil? This is like to make up for all of the bad things. He has shown you, O mortal, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you? And this is it, to act justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly with the Lord, with your God. And so act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with God.
Good
and
stuff.
So treat people fairly.
Yeah.
Resist corruption and exploitation,
Yep.
which Micah has pointed out was everywhere.
Yeah.
Love mercy, be compassionate and loyal in your relationships, and walk humbly with God, which is to live in surrender and trust with no pride or performance. And so, if when you're looking to act justly and let God's heartbreak lead to holy action, if we're truly broken over injustice, we shouldn't stay passive.
Yeah.
When we see it, ask, where in my daily life can I bring fairness and truth, whether that be at work, in your relationships, in your community. Where can you
Yeah.
make things better? Mr. Rogers had this thing where
Yeah.
I love Mr. Rogers. He would say, when something's going wrong, what should I do? Look for the people helping people.
Yeah. Yep.
Look for the people helping people. That's the entire part of our do-good ministry
Yeah.
here at PCC. Look for the people that are helping people.
Mm.
So speak up if you see somebody being mistreated or overlooked, or volunteer somewhere. Like, find people that are helping people and
Yeah.
get involved. Love mercy. Don't just do mercy. Delight in it. Like, God's heart breaks for those that are wounded, not just the wronged. So let his compassion kind of shape your posture and approach to things.
Yeah.
Be quick to forgive and show grace to people. Look for opportunities to show unexpected kindness. Try to put yourself in other people's shoes. We circled back to the beginning. If there's somebody that you're withholding mercy from or holding on to, ask God to help you forgive that person.
Yeah.
Like, actually practice what you're trying to preach
Yeah.
yourself. And that can kind of sting a bit. Like, that can be a bitter pill. But
Yeah.
if you're going to do this, like, you need to make sure that your heart is correct.
Something on that line that really is striking me, the loving mercy, to it not just being something that you make a choice to do, but growing into loving and delighting the way that it feels to be able, because that's really, like, that's a huge portion of something that God offers us, is he doesn't just begrudgingly give us mercy. He delights to give us mercy. He is that's all he wants to be able to do, is to give us mercy and bring us back close to him. So putting yourself in a spot where it's not just an obligation, but it is something that you recognize as a privilege to get to do, I think is pretty critical there.
No, I love that you pointed that out.
Yeah.
Like, nowhere in the word does it say, and then God reluctantly will forgive you.
Nope. Doesn't say that.
Like, God is waiting, willing and able and ready and wanting to forgive you.
Yes. But I think
Love that.
it's just so easy to just view it through the lens of it's an obligation on his
Yes.
part, or you're the one that he doesn't want to have to do it for, or something like that. But he's not, it's not like a, oh my God, again.
Yes.
Again. Like, it's always just a delight for him to be able to
Welcome
pull
you
us.
home.
Yeah. Welcome us home, pull us closer to him.
That
Yeah.
was a good point.
Yeah. Good stuff.
And then to walk humbly with your God is to keep your eyes on him and not your effort. You should let your let your broken heart lead to increased dependence on him.
Yes.
Because it's probably going to force you into areas that are slightly uncomfortable
Yeah.
for you.
Mhm.
And you're going to need to lean on his dependence, lead to increased dependence on him and
Yes.
not your own self-effort.
Yes, because if it's just on us, we're gonna burn out quick and
Yes.
run out of the ability to be able to be anything to anyone.
And this isn't about just going out and browbeating people into saying, like, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. It's, hey, this is where we've gone a little off track. We need to recognize this in ourselves
Yeah.
and fix it.
Yeah.
And then ask God to help us fix it.
Yep. And advocate for people who can't speak up for themselves. Like,
Yes.
just thinking through, like, it not being about you, and it not being about who you are impacting by what you're speaking up about, it only going back to him, pointing back to him. That'll keep you from making it all about you.
Yes. And also, it's about, if you see somebody that's hurting someone else, trying to help that person that's actually doing the hurting see themselves in the person being hurt.
Yeah.
Like, how would you feel if this was someone you cared about being treated this way?
Yes. And
you wouldn't want that.
And then give mercy to the person who's doing the hurting too, which is hard to do.
We
want to advocating for people who are hurting is a whole lot easier than offering mercy to the people who are the hurters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hurters. Hurters.
Hurters.
Not
That's not a
herders.
word.
No.
But I'm going to make it one.
For our purposes, it is.
Yeah.
Because that's who you're going to end up needing ultimately to extend mercy to.
Yep.
And that's going to be the hard one
Oh,
because
yeah, that's hard.
God also wants to extend mercy to that person.
Yep.
Mm.
Ouch.
Like, it's not this is a tall order.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, Angie called this a dangerous prayer for a reason.
Yes.
It's hard because it hurts us to have to open our eyes to everything around us that breaks God's heart. But it's also a dangerous prayer because that means we have the responsibility now to respond once we notice it, to then respond well to everybody involved.
and just and one of the things to ask yourself here whenever you're trying to walk humbly with the Lord and keep your eyes on him and not your effort, am I more concerned for looking right than walking rightly with God? Like, am I just out here white knighting
Yeah.
because I'm virtue signaling?
Yep. Which I think
Or
that's
do I actually care?
right. That's where I immediately, that line right there is what makes me think of the idea of advocating for someone in person, completely different than just popping off on social media and being like, why would this person do this and this person do this? What does that do other than just make you look good? That you
Yeah.
have an opinion about someone who's bad. Like, there's a good way. There's
Like, it's
a good
easy
way
to
to
do
do
that.
it. There, yep.
Like,
There's a good way to respond with mercy, to speak up for those who need help, and to be able to do it in a humble way. And most of the time, how we respond to injustice, if we're following all three of these steps, is not just posting a status on social media or
Yes.
liking something or following a trend of copy paste this. Like, it is getting out into the world and the nitty gritty and rolling up our sleeves and being willing to be uncomfortable.
and these are, and this type of teaching is exactly the thing that they rejected. Like, when we
Yeah.
go back, do not prophesy about these things. Like,
They said, shut up.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
But this is something that's not always easy to do because you are being asked to extend mercy to the people that are doing the wrong.
Yeah.
And you are expected to go out there and actually try to get your hands dirty and help, which
Yeah.
is why the main go-do that I have for this would be find people that are helping people,
Yeah.
like Mr. Rogers said,
Mhm.
and go
Help 'em.
and go help them.
Yeah.
There's do-good opportunities at all of our campuses, but if none of those work out for your schedule, find another group that is actively out there doing good where you can try to see these three things happening.
Yes.
People that are looking to act justly, to love mercy, and that are trying to walk humbly with the Lord and go and be a part of what they are doing. But
Yeah.
I do know I think all of our campuses have various do-good partnerships now that you can get involved with. And so that would probably be what I could see like the next logical step for somebody after listening to this episode.
Yeah. I would add into the mix to keep that prayer in mind, the break my heart for what breaks yours. Praying that regularly, I think keeps us in touch with what our role is as believers, in a way of also like just touching base with God regularly about like your action, just being
Yes.
like, I'm trying, I'm doing what I can, but continue to help me see, reveal to me what I might be able to do, that maybe it's the next step of impact that you're leading me towards, or maybe it's to just, buckle down and keep doing what I'm doing. But regardless of all of it, just open my eyes and help me see what is not right in the world, and help me move that observation to action.
Love that.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good
Yeah.
spot to put a pin in it. But
Good
I want to
stuff.
encourage you, we have that entire series of messages that we did on
Yeah.
our YouTube channel. We'll have this one linked in there that Pastor Angie did, but I would encourage you to check out all of those messages because that was a really, really good series that
It
we
was.
did from back in the day.
It also is a good book too. So
I haven't read
yeah.
the book.
I think it's Andy Stanley. I could be wrong,
Okay.
but I've heard good things. Yeah.
Well, we'll sort it out, and we'll
Yeah.
know who wrote it by the time we update.
Put something that makes sense in the description.
But leave us a review, and we will get you up.
Oh, I
No,
have the
you
mug
have
today.
it. You have a mug. We'll send you one of those mugs,
Ooh.
and we look forward to seeing you all back here next week for another episode of the After Chat.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us for The After Chat. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To be the first to hear our next episode, be sure to hit the subscribe button and get notifications for new content. You can also follow us on social media on Instagram at PCC Wired and Facebook at Passion Community Church. For additional resources and links, check out the description. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time on The After Chat.